Hi, everybody. It is time for This is the Bronx TV. And look where we are. We are at incredibly beautiful Woodlawn Cemetery. I'm here with Susan Olson, who is the cemetery's historian. We are right in front of an incredibly historic stone and grave right here. Who is this?
This is the monument to Miles Davis. Miles Davis, of course, considered the most innovative genius of jazz, transitioning from bebop to hard bop to the days of fusion. Just a remarkable trumpet player.
Do we have a sense of why or how he ended up being buried here?
The number one request is to be as close to Duke as possible. And so his family decided that this prominent spot next to Duke Ellington was an ideal place to memorialize Miles. What's incredible about our Jazz Corner is none of these guys are New Yorkers. They want to be buried with their friends, they want to be buried with their colleagues, as opposed to with their family back home.
You have done an incredibly great job at a perfect segue because we're walking over to Duke Ellington's plot, and while we walk, we're going to talk about why we're here and why we're doing that. So this kind of music, people will hear us talking about Duke Ellington and Miles Davis. This kind of music is not what's happening this Sunday, is it?
Actually, we're celebrating the early years of jazz this Sunday.
Way over here.
2018 marks the 100th anniversary of the dawn of the Jazz Age, a time when all of a sudden people are having wild dances and lots of music with improvisation. It's the beginning of jazz in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, one of the musicians and composers we'll be celebrating this Sunday is Duke Ellington. He comes here as a young man from Washington, D.C., gets a gig at the Cotton Club. Next thing you know, he's internationally famous, and everybody is swinging. And that's what we hope to share, is this exciting time period when we go from slow dance music to this wild time of swing and the Lindy Hop and all sorts of creative things being done by young people.
It is incredible because you could actually tell the whole history of jazz, essentially from then to now, with what is surrounding us. Couldn't you do
It's
that?
one of the things we're very proud of at Woodlawn is that you have Duke Ellington, one of the giants of the swing era. In the southwest corner of the cemetery, we have King Oliver, Louis Armstrong's mentor. We have W.C. Handy, the father of the blues. Then Miles, who gives us the era of cool jazz. And right across the way is Ornette Coleman, free jazz. So all the eras of jazz are represented here. And every year we have concerts to celebrate whose birthday, whose era. And this year it's all about that music coming to town 100 years ago.
And I'm so pleased because the Woodlawn Cemetery historian missed one that I'm staring at right here, and that is Lionel Hampton is right across the way over there. And I was telling you beforehand, I actually saw Lionel Hampton perform, so I can thank him personally for the great night I had.
Well, and the gravestone was actually purchased by our nonprofit organization, the Woodlawn Conservancy. Lionel left all his estate to charity. So when he was buried here, our Friends organization donated the money for that stone that reads Flying Home. When kids come on tour, they think he's going to the Angels. You and I know it's one of the greatest jazz compositions of all times.
Of all time. So now let's wrap it up by talking about what's happening. So it's Sunday, folks, and it's at 2 o'clock?
At 2 o'clock, it's led by Victor Goines, who's from the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, a native of New Orleans. He'll be playing the music of W.C. Handy, King Oliver, Duke Ellington, and some of his original compositions. He's a phenomenal composer and a great scholar of this era in jazz, as well as being just one of the best clarinetists in the world.
And so 2 o'clock, and you go to woodlawnjazz.org. Did I get that right? woodlawnjazz.org. And you have to reserve space because, as I understand, I know it looks like we have an immense amount of space here, but they do fill up.
We can only fit so many people on the lawn, so let us know you're coming, so we'll reserve your blade of grass.
And the beauty of it is right what's on my shirt, and you can repeat after me, because this is
The Bronx.